Hello and welcome back. It is your boy Diamond Man here today. Actually, this is Sierra Wolf, and welcome back to episode 3 of my Let's Play series. Today, we are going to do some stuff with villagers. We are going to set up a villager breeder, as well as a carrot and a potato farm. And those are going to be automatically farmed by our villagers. So, I'm going to take you over to where I think we're going to build today's build, and then I will get to it. So, what I think I'm going to do is, instead of building a full building for this, as it's going to be pretty tall with 3 different layers of farms, I'm actually going to build it into this mountain, and then I'm going to build like a facade over it. So it'll be right here. So I'm going to have to do a lot of terraforming. I'm also going to have to do a little chopping down of my trees to make sure that I can have enough wood to do so. And I think I'm going to stick with a similar design, with similar palette from what I did over there on my starter house, as well as I'm going with a design that is very similar to a design that Mythical Sausage did a few years back. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start chopping some trees, and we're going to do this and get a time lapse going of the facade, and then we're going to go ahead and bring you back in when we start moving villagers. So let's get it. Alright, so that was quite the time lapse, and you can see here behind me we have our villager breeder and our carrot and potato farm built into the mountain. I think it looks pretty good, so let's just go give it a look. I'll show you what else I did inside. I went ahead and made our carrot farm down here. This is the carrot farm that's going to be our villager breeder. As you can see right here, we have our beds for our villagers, and basically the way this works is when the 2 villagers that are going to be in here have a baby, the baby's going to think that they can get over there to the beds, but they're going to fall down here into this little water stream, and it's going to carry them all the way over here to a little hole that I created for it. I will probably do a little bit more about decorating this or finding a better way to put them around here, but that's what we have for now. And then we have that floor, and then we have 2 more floors. So let me show you the other 2 floors. On this floor, this is going to be our auto carrot farm. So we're going to have a villager in here, and there's going to be a villager behind there. The villager in here is going to think that they can throw the carrots to that villager, and so they will, but they'll be picked up by these mine carts and be taken down to our chest. And that's going to be the same mechanic that you're going to use up here for the auto potato farm. Again, we have the compass posters so that we have a farmer job, and then we have a light source above that. That way, they because the crops need light, and the more light they have, that they'll grow faster. So that's why we have 4 torches on the walls and a light source in the middle. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to go over there, get a villager, and I went ahead and made this little dirt path just to get 2 villagers over here to get into the villager breeder. Once we get 2 villagers in the villager breeder, they will start breeding right away, and we can use those villagers to stock up the rest of the farms. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go over and get a villager, row them across in a boat in this little path here, just so we don't have to worry about the ravines and getting a villager stuck at the bottom of the ravine, or even just in these little valleys right here. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'm going to do that in another little time lapse, so let's get to it. So we did exactly that. We went over to the village and we got our first villager, and we rode him all the way over to our villager breeder. My plan was really just to try and get 2 villagers over here and get them into the villager breeder, and then use those villagers to stock up the rest of the farm. But when I let this guy out, he actually went to this little stall for the second level farm right away. And as those stalls are usually the hardest place to get villagers into, I just went ahead and left him there, and I figured I could get 2 more villagers from this village. So we headed back over and got our second villager, rode him over. And then when we rode him over, instead of we went ahead and put a box around in those times just to make sure he would go into the farm where we wanted him to be. So I did that, broke the boat, he got in there just safe, and so we blocked it back up a little bit so he couldn't get out while I went and got the other villager. So I went over, got another farmer villager, and brought him over. And then when we got back over, we did the same exact thing where we blocked him in. Since I already had half the dirt wall there, I just put the other half of the dirt wall and blocked him in, let him in, and he went right in as well. And so after that, I came down here and I realized that there must be a flaw to what my villager design was, as there was the villager that I put in there first had already fell down. And I realized it was because that top one was open. So since it was open, the villager was able to get through to the other side and fall down into the creek, or the water stream, whatever you want to call it. So I went ahead and fixed that up, made sure it was closed so that they wouldn't be able to walk into the water stream. Got this villager out of there. I put him in a boat, got him back in this little dirt wall so that he could be forced to go in, and he went in. And so after that, I went ahead and headed in, and I went ahead and harvested some of the carrots and gave them to the villagers, just in hopes that we just jumpstart the villager breeder a little bit. And so after a while of standing in the corner and watching, they finally had the magical moment, and we had a baby villager. And just by design, that baby villager went straight for the bed, and when he did, he came down here, and we had our first villager from the villager breeder. So while I was waiting for him to grow up and be able to be placed into our stall and farm, I went ahead and set up a little rail line, just because I think most of the time minecarts are the easiest way to move villagers, especially when you're wanting to move them into small spaces like this. So we went ahead and set up a rail line. I had to do it a few times because I didn't really plan out the rail line. I just kind of winged it. So I ended up having to mess with some of the redstone and stuff, but I ended up making it happen. Something I do intend on doing with this villager breeder in the future is I'm going to make the entrance to the villagers a little bit more special, as well as I think I'm going to make it so that they are automatically put into minecarts, as well as when I do not have any minecarts left, I'm going to have it so that it actually shuts off the villager breeder by blocking their line of sight to the beds. All right, so we're just checking back in, and I have our last villager that's needed for our farm. Our farm that's going to be right here. We have our last villager that we just need to wait for him to grow up, and then he will be placed in here, and our farm will be completely done. Because we got our guy over there, and then on our top farm up here, if we want to just peek in, we got our guy in there, and we got our farmer. So we're doing pretty good. I think I'm going to, while this guy grows up, I'm going to go ahead and take down this ugly dirt path, and then I will get this guy in, and we'll check back, and I'll show you how the farm's been doing that since then. So let's get to it. All right, so this guy just grew up, and so we're gonna see if it looks like there should still be time for him to work. So hopefully he'll go claim this job, And then I can take this workstation away, and hopefully he will find the other one. Where did he go? Hopefully he will find the other composter that is in. Well, just like anything with villagers, you can never expect where they're going to go. So hopefully he'll see this, and then he'll see that he can go to the other workstation. Nope, he's not seeing it. And so this continued. I went ahead and I tried to get him in a boat. I tried to push him around, and he just really wasn't wanting to go anywhere. So I just tried to lead him there by clicking on him, and it just didn't really work. But finally, after a while, after him running away a few different times, he took this composter job up right by the door, and then I was able to push him in. And he hasn't taken the job yet. But I think that might be because working hours are over. So we'll check back in the morning with him and see if he decided he wanted the job or not. As, yes, I believe working hours should be over. But in that time that it took for him to grow up, we already have over a stack and a half of potatoes from the guy on the 3rd floor. So that's pretty good. And hopefully we will check back in after when the day starts again and see if he will take to his job. And if he takes to his job, we will get carrots pretty quickly. So while we're waiting for the sun to go down so we can sleep, we're going to do one thing, and that is we are actually going to take the carrots and potatoes out of this field, as I feel like I have a brand new source and will no longer need this field. So this little field over here is going to be for wheat for the time being, as I'm going to start breeding up my cows again, as I've kind of forgotten to do that the last few episodes. So we're going to go ahead and just take the carrots and potatoes out of this field. And then we will replant all of that with wheat so that we can go ahead and get some stuff ready to breed up these cows and have things ready for next episode. But we're going to go ahead and go sleep, and then we'll go back and check on that villager in the morning to see if he wants to take that job. Alright, so it's the morning. We will have to wait just a few minutes until the sun gets about there to be the point where the villagers are going to want to work. So we'll just come hang out over here. We'll find a few things to do. Maybe clean up the chest in the area, the work area that I had going on over here. One thing I do want to mention, though, is as much as I want to go ahead and get some details in this area, I'm not exactly sure how the path over here is going to work yet, so I'm going to wait until I get a few more buildings in this area. I think I'm going to do a building for most of my farms, so after I get a few more buildings, then I'll start getting some paths and some true terraforming going on. So right now it looks a little bland. The land looks a little bland. I'm having to jump over ravines, but that will change over just a few more episodes. So let's go ahead and check and see if we got any more potatoes overnight. Nope, we're good. But that's okay. Usually they'll just dump some potatoes in right towards the end of working hour when they go to gossip. That's when they'll usually trade food. So you usually only get a dump every once a day, and that's okay. We'll just have to remember to check that at night most of the time. Or in the morning when we wake up and need some food. But I think I actually, from that potato harvest, that should be enough to keep me going on baked potatoes for a bit, and then this will keep me going for baked potatoes. And then once we get switched over to another food source, which I'm thinking maybe steak later on, but we'll see. Once we get switched over to another food source, we will actually, this farm will be mostly for villager trading, as we'll probably get a villager hall set up in around episode 10, and then we can start selling these things for emeralds and start getting rich. So the sun's pretty high in the sky. Yep, just heard the one guy up there works, so let's go ahead and check on this guy and see if he took to his job. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm actually just to make sure he doesn't pop out of here, I'm going to actually crawl. So he's not taking his job yet. Hopefully that'll change. I'm not sure what will we do if he doesn't. So yeah, I'm hoping we can get this guy to take his job. He does not seem to be wanting it, though. So we'll keep an eye on him, and if something changes, I will update you. But we're going to just make sure someone gets working here. If I need to, I have another villager out there stored up that we can bring in here. And we can take this villager, put him in a boat, and save him for something else. But, yeah, I will check back in when we have a farmer villager in this level. Alright, so I'm checking back in because we finally got this villager to want to work at this station. So I think what was happened was actually this villager back here was locked onto this station, and so he was taking it up. So this guy didn't want to take up the station, but after breaking it a couple times and replacing it, this guy actually took to the job, and now he is farming. So I will check back in after they gossip and I get some carrots down there, and we'll see how many we get on the first time, and we will check back in at that point, and I will let you know how the farm is going. Alright, so as the sun is setting over and after another day, let's come check here, and we have over a stack of carrots and over 2 stacks of potatoes. This thing is already working really well. And let's check. It sounds like we have a baby villager. We have another baby villager. So this is working just as it should. So that will be great. So there's just one other thing I want to do today, and we will head over to the house, take a nap, and we'll do it. Greetings from a future Sierra Wolf, and welcome to the creative world in which I do my building before I build on my survivor world. So what happened was, either when I went to do that last thing that I was talking about on my Let's Play, when I went to do that, I either forgot to hit record, or my file got corrupted or deleted somehow, and so I do not have video of that last thing that I was going to do, so I just figured I would walk you through it. So basically what I did was I went and I harvested the wheat, and I bred up my cows, as this next episode that will be coming out in a few days, we will be setting up an enchantment setup. So to do so, you need leather, you need books. So I was breeding up my cows, and yeah, so that video got deleted somehow, or I forgot to hit record, I'm not sure, but this is just future me telling you that it's all good, and that was the last thing that we had to do. But I will see you in the next episode. And for now, see ya.